Have you ever wondered why some people seem completely unshaken in the face of adversity? No matter how much life throws at them, stress, challenges, or personal trials, they remain calm and composed. What's their secret? Long ago, in his search for truth, Buddha uncovered the keys to mental strength, not through force or willpower, but through wisdom and self-mastery. His teachings on resilience, mindfulness, and inner peace offer profound insights into how we can all build unbreakable mental strength. Ready to discover the ancient wisdom that can help you remain steady through life's storms? Let's dive in and uncover Buddha's path to true mental fortitude. Why this wisdom matters today. In today's fast-paced, stress-filled world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. From work pressures to personal struggles, the demands on our minds can be exhausting. Many people turn to external sources, drugs, distractions, or even avoidance, hoping they can escape stress. But the truth is, true mental strength doesn't come from escaping challenges. It comes from how we face them. Buddha's teachings on mental fortitude remind us that while we can't control everything that happens around us, we can control how we respond to it. The foundation of an unbreakable mind is built on understanding, acceptance, and clarity. Buddha taught that inner peace is not a state we attain once everything is perfect, but rather something we cultivate by training our minds to stay balanced amid life's inevitable struggles. Today, we're going to explore how to harness that inner strength and use it to navigate life with resilience and wisdom. Understanding. Mind over matter. Buddha's life story itself is a testament to the power of the mind. Born into luxury, he could have stayed in his palace, shielded from the world's suffering. But instead, he chose to face the pain, sickness, and death that surrounded him, understanding that true strength is rooted in mental clarity and wisdom. One of the first steps Buddha took toward enlightenment was learning to understand his own mind. He realized that the mind, when left uncontrolled, can lead to suffering. Negative thoughts, fears, and attachments cloud our judgment and weaken our resolve. Mental strength begins with understanding that you have the power to shape your thoughts, not the other way around. Buddha's insight into the power of the mind shows us that, like a gardener, we can tend to our thoughts and cultivate a peaceful, focused mind. The more we train our minds, the more resilient and unshakable we become, able to face life's challenges with calmness instead of anxiety. The role of mindfulness in mental strength. Mindfulness was one of Buddha's most powerful tools. To him, mindfulness wasn't just about meditation, it was about being present, fully aware of the thoughts and sensations occurring in the moment. In the fast-paced, distraction-heavy world we live in today, mindfulness is more crucial than ever. When we're distracted, we're vulnerable to stress and negative thinking. But when we practice mindfulness, we gain the ability to observe our thoughts without judgment or reaction. It's like standing on the edge of a storm. Rather than being swept away by the winds, you remain grounded, watching them pass by. This mental clarity allows us to respond to challenges with purpose, not reaction. Buddha's teachings remind us that mental strength doesn't come from suppressing our emotions or thoughts, but from observing them, understanding them, and choosing to act from a place of awareness. Through regular mindfulness, we build a steady and unshakable mind that can face any adversity with equanimity, acceptance, and letting go of control. One of the greatest lessons Buddha taught was the importance of acceptance. We often resist the things we cannot control, whether it's the actions of others, the passage of time, or the inevitable hardships of life. This resistance creates internal tension and drains our energy. Buddha's wisdom teaches that true mental strength comes not from controlling everything around us, but from accepting the natural flow of life. Acceptance doesn't mean passive resignation. It means embracing reality as it is, without attachment or judgment. When we stop resisting life's challenges and instead allow them to unfold, we find a sense of freedom. Buddha compared this to the image of a river. Resisting the current only causes pain, but when we surrender to it, we flow effortlessly forward. In times of hardship, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth, and it builds unshakable mental resilience, the strength in emotional detachment. Buddha's teachings also emphasize the power of emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent to the people around us. Instead, it means not allowing our emotions to control us. When we attach ourselves too strongly to people, possessions, or outcomes, we risk losing our peace when those things are taken away. Emotional detachment is the ability to feel without being overwhelmed, to love without possessiveness, and to engage with life without clinging to it. Buddha himself practiced this detachment, not by avoiding relationships or experiences, but by cultivating an inner space where his happiness didn't rely on external circumstances. By practicing emotional detachment, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster that comes with attachment. This does not mean we stop caring. It means we care deeply, but with an understanding that all things are temporary. This awareness strengthens the mind, allowing us to face emotional challenges with greater ease and clarity, turning pain into wisdom. Suffering is a central theme in Buddha's teachings, but Buddha didn't view suffering as something to be avoided at all costs. He saw it as an opportunity for growth. He taught that through our suffering, we have the chance to cultivate wisdom. Life's difficulties, whether they come in the form of heartbreak, failure, or disappointment, are inevitable. But how we respond to them is what shapes our mental strength. Rather than trying to escape suffering or push it away, Buddha encouraged us to face it directly and see what it has to teach us. Every painful experience carries a lesson, whether it's learning patience, resilience, or forgiveness. When we allow ourselves to feel our pain fully and then release it, we free ourselves from its grip. By embracing suffering as a teacher, we cultivate wisdom that makes our minds stronger and our hearts more compassionate. The importance of compassion. Buddha's teachings on compassion are deeply connected to mental strength. It might seem counterintuitive. How can compassion, which often involves vulnerability, contribute to strength? But the truth is, compassion builds a strong heart and a resilient mind. When we practice compassion, we stop seeing others as obstacles or threats. Instead, we recognize that everyone is facing their own struggles, and we begin to feel connected rather than isolated. In difficult moments, compassion shifts our focus from me to us. We stop thinking only about our own suffering and extend kindness to others. This act of empathy releases the mental tension that comes from self-centeredness and opens the heart to peace. Buddha taught that compassion isn't just for others, it's also for ourselves. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we build the mental strength to overcome adversity. Compassion strengthens the mind by softening the heart, turning it into a wellspring of inner power. The practice of non-resistance. Buddha's practice of non-resistance is another cornerstone of mental fortitude. This teaching means not fighting against the inevitable, such as aging, loss, or failure. In a world that pushes us to constantly strive, resist, and force outcomes, non-resistance might seem like weakness. But in reality, it's the practice of yielding to life's natural rhythms without allowing them to overwhelm us. Imagine trying to stop the tide with your hands. It's futile. But if you learn to go with the flow, you'll find that the waves don't have to drown you. In life, challenges will come, and things will not always go as planned. By practicing non-resistance, you cultivate peace because you stop fighting reality and start accepting it as it is. This inner peace allows you to act with greater clarity and resilience, facing every situation without getting swept away by emotion or fear. Daily practices to build an unbreakable mind. Buddha's insights become tangible through daily routines that strengthen your mind step by step. Start with short sessions of meditation, focusing on your breath to anchor your awareness in the present. This cultivates mental clarity, making it easier to spot negative thought patterns before they take over. Journaling can also help. Spend a few minutes each evening reflecting on moments when you felt challenged or anxious. Ask yourself, what triggered me, and how could I respond differently? Incorporate acts of kindness toward yourself and others, a supportive text message, a thoughtful gesture, so compassion becomes a habit. If you find yourself resisting a difficult situation, pause, take a deep breath, and gently let go of the need to control it. Over time, these simple practices root you in mindfulness, acceptance, and resilience. They may seem small, but each one fuels the inner strength that grows into a mind capable of weathering any storm. Buddha's wisdom reveals that unbreakable mental strength isn't about forcing yourself to stay strong. It's about embracing the truth of who you are, mastering your mind, and finding peace in every moment. When you practice mindfulness, acceptance, emotional detachment, and compassion, you build a foundation that can weather any storm. The secret to mental strength is not avoiding pain or hardship, but learning to face them with wisdom and resilience. Which principle stood out to you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you found value here, remember to subscribe for more insights. May Buddha's timeless teachings guide you toward a peace that cannot be shaken. Have you ever felt like the day slipped away without accomplishing anything truly meaningful? In a world full of distractions and constant demands, it's all too easy to squander our precious time and energy. Yet if we look to Gautama Buddha and the monks who follow his teachings, we'll find a radical alternative, one built on clarity, balance, and purposeful living. In this guide, we'll explore Buddhist insights that help us master our energy, cut through distractions, and make each moment truly count. Why we struggle with time and energy. Modern life can feel like a blur of tasks, messages, and obligations pulling us in countless directions. We say we have no time, yet we often slip into mindless scrolling or procrastination. According to Buddhist thought, the real problem isn't a shortage of hours. It's a lack of mindful intention. We bounce between cravings for entertainment, novelty, or comfort, and aversions, avoidance of challenging tasks, which drains our vitality and scatters our focus. Buddha recognized this inner restlessness as a form of suffering. By constantly chasing fleeting distractions, we miss out on the deeper, more fulfilling aspects of life. We remain busy but unfulfilled, exhausted by the constant mental noise. Instead of acting with purpose, we drift through each day without a clear sense of direction. Understanding this pattern is the first step in reclaiming our energy. Once you see how short-term impulses sap your mental and emotional reserves, you can begin to shape a life that reflects your higher values, not just your impulses. Buddha's insight on distraction. In the Buddhist worldview, distraction arises when our minds become enthralled by every passing desire or worry. Instead of focusing on meaningful goals, we veer off course at every shiny temptation. Buddha taught that the mind behaves like an untamed elephant, easily spooked and prone to rampaging if not properly trained. This metaphor might sound dramatic, but it points to how chaotic our inner world can be if left unchecked. Monks tackle this by practicing mindfulness and concentration. Rather than eliminating all desires, they learn to observe them without being controlled by them. The constant pull of social media notifications or the lure of binge-watching might feel irresistible, but these are just modern forms of ancient temptations, quick fixes that keep us from more profound engagements. Buddha's wisdom suggests that each time we're pulled toward distraction, we should pause and ask, will this truly benefit me in the long run? By repeatedly returning to what matters, we break the cycle of wasted energy and foster a sense of calm purpose in everything we do. Mindful priorities. Aligning time with values. One of the reasons we waste time is the mismatch between our daily activities and our deeper values. Monks live by clear priorities, meditation, service, study, that align with their spiritual aims. This clarity directs how they invest their energy from sunrise to sunset. You don't need to be in a monastery to adopt a similar approach. Start by listing what genuinely matters to you: family, health, creativity, personal growth, or community service. Then, examine how much of your daily schedule reflects those values. If there's a huge gap, that's where your energy leaks. Suppose you claim family matters most, yet spend evenings lost in social media rants or idle browsing. Over time, this discrepancy erodes your sense of purpose. A more mindful approach would be planning specific time to be fully present with loved ones, devices aside, mind open. By making such intentional choices, you conserve energy for what enriches you rather than letting it dissipate on unfulfilling activities. As Buddha would advise, right intention plus right effort can drastically reshape your life. The middle way for balanced energy. Buddha's famous middle way teaches that neither self-indulgence nor strict austerity leads to lasting peace. The same logic applies to how you manage your time and energy. Swinging between frantic multitasking and total avoidance, binging on shows for hours, creates a cycle of guilt, exhaustion, and eventual burnout. Monks avoid these extremes by establishing consistent, balanced routines, waking early, allocating set periods for work, rest, and meditation, and maintaining a measured pace throughout the day. Try this in your schedule. Block out realistic time for focused tasks and include genuine breaks for rest and enjoyment. Overloading your to-do list sets you up for failure, while having no structure invites chaos. Aim for a sweet spot, a few key tasks that genuinely move you forward, interspersed with breaks to recharge. Like monks, you'll discover that balanced energy management yields better concentration and more consistent progress, freeing you from the all-or-nothing trap. Minimizing time wasters. A Buddhist approach. Time wasting often stems from unconscious habits, compulsively checking social media, scrolling through endless feeds, or endlessly reorganizing tasks instead of doing them. Buddha taught that habits become entrenched through repetition, but they can also be undone by awareness and substitution. For instance, if you catch yourself mindlessly browsing online, apply a short mindfulness exercise. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself if this activity aligns with your priorities. If it doesn't, gently switch to a more purposeful action. Monks systematically reduce clutter in their environments and minds. They keep possessions minimal and routines simple, cutting down on potential distractions. You might try unsubscribing from unnecessary email lists, turning off non-essential notifications, or designating certain times of day as offline. This isn't about deprivation, it's about simplification. When you remove the clutter, you create space to direct your energy toward meaningful projects or relationships. Over time, small daily choices add up, reshaping your mindset from reactive to intentional. Compassion in action, energy used for good. Gautama Buddha's teachings emphasize that discipline isn't just a personal undertaking. It can serve the greater community. Monks often dedicate portions of their day to charitable work or communal chores, using their energy to uplift others. This outward focus can actually help maintain motivation. When you realize that your efficiency and focus benefit not only you, but also the people around you, procrastinating seems less appealing. If you're seeking new motivation to stop wasting time, consider how your improved productivity can help someone else. Could you volunteer in an area that resonates with you? Could you mentor a younger colleague or friend? By channeling energy into acts of compassion, you infuse your daily routine with deeper meaning. This aligns with the Buddhist value of interconnectedness. Our actions ripple outward, touching more lives than we might initially realize. Such a perspective fosters gratitude and a willingness to invest energy wisely, rather than frittering it away on trivial pastimes. Practicing non-attachment, freedom from perfectionism. Sometimes we waste time not because we're lazy, but because we're paralyzed by perfectionism. In Buddhism, attachment to outcomes can bind us just as tightly as any other craving. If we cling to the idea that everything must be flawless, we hesitate to start or spend hours tweaking minor details. Monks learn non-attachment by acknowledging that no result is permanent or perfect. Effort matters more than an impossible standard. For you, practicing non-attachment might mean setting a reasonable time limit on a task and allowing it to be good enough. This approach frees you to move on without second-guessing every detail. Over time, you learn to focus on the present action rather than obsessing over external validation. Each completed task, even if imperfect, becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. Buddha's teachings remind us that our real work is to cultivate a clear, stable mind that can adapt to life's changes, not to chase illusions of permanence or perfection. Making time a sacred resource. Monks often view time as sacred, not to be squandered on mindless diversions. Each sunrise is an invitation to practice mindfulness, serve others, and deepen understanding. Adopting that mindset, you begin to see your schedule as something precious, a canvas for living out your values. This might mean consistently meditating each morning, carving out time for a passion project, or setting boundaries around your evenings for family or introspection. Over time, these monk-inspired habits transform your relationship with time. You drop the notion that days are infinite. Instead, you treat each moment as an opportunity to invest energy in alignment with who you wish to become. When you do slip, falling back into old distractions or habits, you approach it with compassion, gently returning to your new routine. This cyclical process of mindful effort, error, and rededication is how real growth unfolds, echoing the never-ending path of self-improvement taught in Buddhism. Mastering your energy and cutting out wasted time isn't about punishing yourself or living joylessly. It's about channeling your focus in a way that supports your deepest intentions. As Buddha's teachings show, small, consistent changes create a profound shift toward clarity and purpose. Which strategy will you try first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found value here, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Monk Mindset, for more insights on building a disciplined, fulfilling life rooted in Buddhist wisdom. May your journey be one of mindful growth and lasting peace. Have you ever felt as if life's hurdles keep stacking up, testing your patience beyond its limits? More than 2,500 years ago, a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama faced similar trials that ultimately led him to become the Buddha, the awakened one. Through grueling physical challenges, mental battles with temptation, and countless moments of self-doubt, Buddha discovered that true patience isn't passive endurance, but a powerful, active discipline of the mind. This script delves into Buddha's transformative journey, revealing how his ultimate test of patience forever changed how humanity approaches life's adversities. Siddhartha's first encounters with suffering. Before he was known as the Buddha, Siddhartha lived in a palace shielded from the realities of the outside world. Surrounded by luxury and comfort, he had little reason to develop patience. Everything he wanted was immediately at his fingertips. Yet behind this gilded veil, he sensed a growing unease, a sense that something vital was missing. Then came the defining moments. Siddhartha ventured beyond the palace walls and witnessed old age, sickness, and death. No longer could he deny that suffering was woven into the fabric of existence. This realization lit a fuse of restlessness in Siddhartha's heart. The controlled environment he'd known now felt like an illusion. How could he stand by knowing others endured pain while he lounged in splendor? His decision to leave the palace wasn't born from rebellion alone. It was a deep calling to confront the universal problem of suffering. For the first time, Siddhartha had to exercise patience in a new form, the patience to walk away from privilege, accept uncertainty, and embrace the unknown. Through these earliest encounters with reality, he began forming the foundations of the immense fortitude and calm that would later define him as the Buddha, the spark that led to the search for truth. Driven by compassion and existential curiosity, Siddhartha set out on a quest to find an end to suffering. Yet this mission wasn't as simple as mastering a skill or memorizing scriptures. It required reshaping his entire perspective on life. He studied under ascetics who believed that punishing the body, starving it, depriving it of sleep, subjecting it to extreme conditions, could conquer the mind's cravings. Though Siddhartha followed these practices zealously for years, he realized that mere physical trials weren't enough to quell the deeper unrest within. Here, patience took on a new meaning. He had to endure the frustration of hitting dead ends, the disillusionment of discovering that rigorous asceticism only left him weak and no closer to ultimate truth. Over time, he found that an unbalanced approach, either indulgence or harsh deprivation, distracted him from the real work. Understanding how thoughts, desires, and fears shape our reality. This period tested his willingness to keep searching despite setbacks, an early clue that patience isn't just about waiting, but about persisting in the face of repeated obstacles and apparent failures. The middle way, a new kind of patience. After nearly destroying his health through extreme self-denial, Siddhartha recognized that neither palace luxury nor starving asceticism held the key to enlightenment. In what would become a pivotal moment, he decided to take nourishment and restore his body, accepting that the mind and body both need balanced care. This middle way eschews all or nothing extremes, demanding a patient sensitivity to the present moment's needs. Patience here became more than passive acceptance. It grew into an active, mindful moderation. If he felt hungry, he ate enough to maintain strength. If his body ached, he adjusted his posture rather than forcing it into agonizing contortions. Over time, Siddhartha saw that treating himself with balanced kindness conserved energy for deeper mental exploration. This practice of measured forbearance mirrors many aspects of modern stress management: pacing oneself, setting realistic goals, and not letting pride or desperation drive self-harmful behaviors. Crucially, the middle way allowed Siddhartha to intensify his mental focus without wrecking his body, revealing a synergy between kindness and endurance that would soon define his ultimate test. Sitting under the Bodhi tree, the ultimate trial. The defining test of Siddhartha's patience came when he chose to sit under the Bodhi tree until he reached enlightenment or died trying. This vow, seemingly extreme, symbolized his unwavering dedication to solving the riddle of suffering. But it wasn't just the physical act of sitting, it was an inner battle, his mind bombarded by temptations, fears, and profound doubts. Buddhist texts describe the demon Mara assaulting him with apparitions of lust, violence, and scorn, all aimed at shaking his resolve. In the face of these mental storms, Siddhartha didn't engage in an epic struggle. Instead, he remained quietly rooted, observing each vision without succumbing to panic or desire. He recognized these illusions as manifestations of his own mind, fleeting, insubstantial, and ultimately powerless. This approach demanded immense patience. Rather than fleeing, fighting, or bending to the illusions, he stayed with the moment, letting each wave of temptation pass. The Bodhi tree ordeal illustrates how controlling the mind isn't about dominating or suppressing emotions, but meeting them with calm attentiveness. As dawn approached, he saw the nature of his mind clearly, shattered the final veils of ignorance, and rose as the Buddha, the awakened one. What Buddha's test of patience reveals about our minds? Buddha's enlightenment shows that the mind isn't an enemy to be conquered by force, but rather a complex landscape we can learn to navigate. During his ultimate test, every distraction or negative emotion was a teacher in disguise, highlighting areas of attachment or fear. His patience allowed him to watch these mental events come and go without identifying with them. For everyday people, this lesson translates into recognizing that emotional upheavals, anger, jealousy, despair, don't define us. They're waves in the mind's ocean, often set off by external triggers or deep-seated habits. When we lose patience, we become stuck in reaction, fueling anger or anxiety until it spirals. Buddha's approach invites us to pause, acknowledge these waves, and let them crest and fall. Patience becomes a shield against impulsive choices and an opening for deeper insight. By adopting this stance, we aren't passively tolerating negativity, but consciously transcending it, cultivating Buddha-like patience. In modern life, though few of us will seclude ourselves under a Bodhi tree, The essence of Buddha's patience can deeply inform our chaotic modern lives. First, mindful meditation offers a mini laboratory for facing discomfort, staying with restless thoughts instead of fleeing into distractions. Observing a strong itch or a flash of irritation, we practice not reacting automatically, but letting the sensation or thought fade. Second, setting realistic expectations helps you navigate daily stress without meltdown. Buddha's middle way suggests balancing ambition with self-compassion. If you overextend yourself, patience frays. But when you plan tasks according to your genuine capacity, you cultivate steadiness. Third, embracing uncertainty fosters patience under life's shifting circumstances. Job changes, health issues, relationship transitions. Buddha recognized that no condition remains static forever, so fighting every inevitable change only fans suffering. Accepting that flux is normal nurtures the mental pliability to handle what arises. Lastly, practice compassion, both for yourself and others. When colleagues or loved ones test your patience, see them through a lens of empathy, recalling your own struggles with fear or pride. This perspective shifts your focus from judgment to understanding, deflating heated emotional charges. Over time, these practices root patience in your habits, turning ordinary frustrations, traffic jams, disagreements, annoying phone calls into opportunities for mindful growth. Practical exercises to build patience. If you're eager to follow Buddha's footsteps in conquering impatience, try weaving a few practical exercises into your daily routine. One approach is the daily pause, where you pick an everyday task, such as brushing your teeth or making coffee, and do it at half your usual speed, noticing any restlessness that arises. You could also adopt micro-meditations by taking 3 slow, conscious breaths whenever tension flares, silently labeling the feeling like irritation, hurt, anger, before letting it pass. Another idea is the waiting practice. Next time you're stuck in a queue or on hold, resist the urge to check your phone and instead observe your mind's impatience, returning to your breath whenever it wanders. Compassion breaks can further soften frustration. Once or twice a day, pause to wish well for someone testing your patience. May they find peace. May I find peace. Finally, reflective journaling at day's end helps you note when impatience arose, exploring what triggered it and how you reacted, fueling deeper self-awareness and more strategic responses over time. How patience empowers compassion and clarity. Buddha's teachings tie patience to the cultivation of compassion. Without patience, empathy quickly crumbles at the first sign of conflict or inconvenience. But when your reservoir of patience runs deep, you can respond to others' struggles without succumbing to frustration or judgment. This synergy fortifies relationships. Co-workers, family, or even strangers sense your steady presence, encouraging trust and open dialogue. Patience also clarifies thinking. An impatient mind easily jumps to conclusions or reacts defensively, fueled by unexamined emotions. By contrast, a patient mind slows down the knee-jerk process, letting you glean the root causes behind a tense situation. For example, if you're at odds with a colleague, rather than snapping a retort, patience prompts you to consider if they're under unique stress. Such an approach fosters solutions and synergy, whereas impatience often escalates conflict. In short, through patience, your empathy and cognitive discernment flourish side by side. Living the Bodhi lesson. Ongoing practice. Buddha's dramatic vow under the Bodhi tree symbolizes a timeless message. Profound change arises when you stop running from mental storms and face them head-on, anchored by patience. Yet his enlightenment wasn't an instant fix. He dedicated the rest of his life to deepening and sharing these truths. Similarly, you won't perfect patience overnight. Instead, you commit to practicing daily, refining your awareness each time impatience flares. Your vow might be less dramatic than Siddhartha's, but it holds similar potency. Perhaps you vow to remain calm through a challenging work project, or to respond with warmth to a critical family member for a month. Each moment you refrain from venting or rushing judgment is a victory for conscious mind training. Over weeks and years, these small decisions accumulate into a resilient spirit, mirroring how Buddha's single night of perseverance under the Bodhi tree led to a lifetime of compassion and wisdom. Buddha's ultimate test of patience wasn't just about enduring physical discomfort or resisting temptation. It was about transforming his entire approach to the mind. By meeting each challenge with clarity and forbearance, he unlocked a wellspring of empathy, calm, and insight. Which aspect of his story resonates with you most? Comment below to share your reflections. And if this dive into Buddha's patient path intrigues you, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Monk Mindset, for more tools to foster inner stability and compassionate living. May your patience guide you toward ever deeper peace.